Hello everybody, so we're another video, and today, I bought a Game Boy. Well, not today, more like a month ago. But today I'm here to talk about the Game Boy, because I got it recently, and I want to talk about it. It's neat, it's fun, I really like this thing. So some of you might be wondering, why buy a Game Boy in 2020? It's kind of unnecessary, since we have so many better, more advanced consoles right now. And the answer is pretty simple. I just like this era of gaming, the 16-bit era, with like the SNES and the Genesis, and then later the Game Boy Advance. I just think it's a really fun era of gaming. We got a lot of good games during that time, and visually I just really like 16-bit graphics. 8-bit's a little too low-tech, low-res for me, but 16-bit is like a nice middle ground before we get to like 3D. Where it's like, you know, really polished and like nice looking, but not super old looking, I guess. Another thing is that I've just really wanted a Game Boy for a long time. I remember watching videos back in the day on YouTube, old YouTube, of people just, you know, talking about old video game consoles, how I got into game collecting and all these old retro consoles. And the one that always stuck out to me was the Game Boy Advance. So I always really wanted one, but I never got it, simply because I had a DS at the time which could play Game Boy games, so it was kind of unnecessary, but still, I've always wanted one just because I thought that it was super cool. I finally got around to it this year on my birthday, because usually there's something else I'm being distracted by on my birthday that I want more, like a Switch or just some random game. So the Game Boy would always be pushed further and further down the list for me in terms of priorities and like what I want. But this year there wasn't really anything coming out. No new console except for PS5, but haha, not getting that day one, that's for sure. So I decided I will finally fulfill 9-year-old me's dream of owning a Game Boy, and now I do. So the next question you may ask is, how is it? And it is a lot of fun. First off, just from what you can see, it is orange. It's clear orange, which is not a color that they had at the time of the Game Boy Advance's release. This is a custom shell that I got with my Game Boy, and it looks really nice. I really love just like clear consoles and like clear controllers and stuff. Nowadays you don't see it as much. I mean, there was the PlayStation 4 like limited edition thing for selling like 100 million PlayStations or something, but that's the only one I can really think of besides going back to like the N64 and you know, older consoles. So it's not a look you see anymore, but it looks really nice, especially on handheld devices. And one little feature that I like about it, if you can kind of see it, you can see the logo of the game from the label while it's inside the Game Boy. So you can see got Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. It's got a little tear in it because, you know, I think I picked this up at a not a thrift shop, but like a secondhand store. And then you put it in and you can still kind of see it, which I just think is a neat touch. You wouldn't be able to get this with a normal Game Boy or you know, a Game Boy that has just like the regular shell that they came with. So yeah, just off the looks alone, I really love this thing. Also, just, it's orange. It's beautiful, come on. The other thing is the screen. Now, I won't be able to show it here, so I'm gonna put in some footage from later on that I'll record. But the screen has actually been modded. So, this is the original model of the Game Boy Advance, but they had a later model called the Game Boy Advance SP, which had the folding design similar to the DS. And that one, there was a version of it with a really nice screen. That was called the AGS 101. It was backlit, it looked really clean. You didn't have to like shine the Game Boy in sunlight to be able to see it anymore. And that's the screen that they put into this device. So it is the original Game Boy shell and like design with the new screen inputted into it, which is really nice, because as good as the Game Boy Advance SP is, it's less comfortable than this. This just like melts in your hands. You can have a really good grip on all the buttons at once. It's just really comfortable. But at the same time, if you had an original, you wouldn't be able to get the nice screen of the SP. So there were like pros and cons to each version. If you wanted the SP, it would be less comfortable but have a better screen. And if you wanted the original, it would have a worse screen but better comfortability, I guess is the word. But with this, since it's modded to have the newer screen and is in the old shell, you get the best of both worlds, and it is a joy to play. Another thing that surprised me was how power efficient this device is. It runs on just 2 AA batteries, and I haven't found myself having to recharge these batteries very much. I've been playing a decent amount. I haven't been going like crazy with it, obviously, but you know, I'd only really need to charge these batteries like once or twice a week at most. So it's pretty power efficient, which I was not expecting. I think there's just like an idea in my head that these battery-powered systems are just gonna eat up batteries like crazy. But that's not the case with the Game Boy Advance, and I'm very glad about that. But of course, what's a console without some games? So over here, I have some old GBA games that I've had for a very long time. Starting off, we have, I almost dropped it, Sonic Advance 3. This I used to play a lot. This game is very good. So I've been playing a lot of this. Next up is Yu-Gi-Oh! Worldwide Edition Starway to the Destined Duel, which, little weird for me to own, I know, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, but first off, it's a very good Yu-Gi-Oh! Game. It's very... You'd expect that most Yu-Gi-Oh! Games would just follow the card game, but no, a lot of them try to do their own weird thing, which is just dumb, like just be the card game, which this does. It's just a simple plot with like a tournament, and you fight characters in the series, and you build your deck, and it's really fun, and I can't play it anymore because my dog chewed up the cartridge. It still works on my Retron 5, somehow, but it does not work on the original Game Boy, which is a little disappointing because this is a really good game. But then also, this is not one that I played back in the day, but it's one that came with the Game Boy when I ordered it. That is Pokemon Fire Red. This is obviously a reproduction cart just by how clean it is and how cheap I got it, which was free with the console. But yeah, funny story about this, I was playing it when I got my Game Boy. And at that time, I did not have these rechargeable batteries that I'm using right now. So I was just using some old AA's that I found. And I got past the first gym, and I noticed the power light on the Game Boy started blinking red. And I was like, oh no, I just beat the first boss, I should probably save. So as I was saving, the device turns off, it runs out of battery. And I'm like, oh no, hopefully it's saved. Turns out, it didn't just not save, it deleted my whole save file on this damn cartridge. So I had to restart from the beginning. And by restart from the beginning, I mean I haven't really touched it since because I've been too scared off. I mean, I'm gonna jump back into it probably soon. But yeah, that was fun. Make sure your Game Boys are charged, kids. I also got Castlevania Aria of Sorrow with my Game Boy. I ordered this maybe the same day I got the Game Boy, or maybe like a day later. Fantastic game. This is what I've been playing the most on the Game Boy. I beat it. I 100%ed the map. Then I got the true ending. And I'm considering going back and just 100%ing the game fully. Because this game is amazing. It's so fun. I've never been a huge... I've never tried any games in the Castlevania series, and I like Metroidvanias, but I'm not like the craziest about them. So it was really surprising to me that I liked this game so much. I mean, I was obviously intrigued by it, that's why I got it in the first place. But I was not expecting to like it this much. It's just it like holds up really well in comparison to modern Metroidvanias that try to emulate the style. But I feel like this does it the best. It's so good. You have all these like different monster abilities, and the layout of the castle is really fun to traverse. And the characters, it's just a really solid game, and one that I plan on playing a lot more. So what's next for my little Game Boy collection thing? Well, I know I mentioned it earlier, but I got these rechargeable batteries so I don't have to keep getting new batteries, so that's nice. Also, plan on getting more of these cases. So, the thing about Game Boy games is that originally they came in cardboard boxes, and the thing about those is that they get damaged very easily. So it's very hard to find sealed Game Boy games in the box, in nice condition. And if you can find them, they're usually expensive. So what people do is they take the art from those boxes and put them onto DS cases. And the thing about DS cases is that they can also hold Game Boy games in there. So I plan on getting those for all my games so I don't have them just loose. It also just makes them feel nicer on a shelf. It's not just the pile of Game Boy games. It is like an esteemed part of your collection, and it has, a solid place there. I also am planning on getting maybe manuals, because the games also came with manuals, obviously. But those, I'm a little iffy about, because that would be buying like 3 things for every game. You'd be buying the game itself, plus a case, plus a manual for the game. So I might not do manuals for all the games, or at least not yet. But I'll probably do it for games like Sonic Advance 3 and Castlevania, which are, games I really, really like. So probably not going to go crazy on the manuals, but I definitely want to get cases for all these games at least. And while we're talking about games, I might as well talk about what I am planning to get next for the games collection. Probably going to get Advance Wars. That's a one that I've tried out in an emulator, and it is pretty goddamn fun. Just simple tactics, and it's got a really nice art style, so I really want to pick that one up. There's Zelda Minish Cap, which was actually created by Capcom, which is why it intrigues me the most, other than, again, just having nice visuals. But yeah, it's a smaller Zelda title. You don't hear a lot of people talking about Minish Cap, which is why I want to try it. It's such an anomaly in the Zelda lineup. There are the other Game Boy Castlevania games, which I really want to try after playing Aria of Sorrow, because if those are anywhere near as good as Aria of Sorrow, I'm going to be very pleased. There's also the other 2 Sonic Advance games, which I never got to try. Apparently Sonic Advance 2 is really, really good, so I'm probably going to get that one next, and then I'll get Advance 1, so just going completely backwards, starting with 3, then getting 2, and then getting 1. And lastly, well, these are like 2, technically 3 games, but there's the Mother 1 and 2 collection on Game Boy, and there is Mother 3. Now, both of these, I believe, are fan productions of the cartridges. They came out in Japan, but then fans took it, put it in English translations, and then sold it themselves on Game Boy cartridges, so you can play it on actual hardware. Obviously, Mother 3 has been talked about to death. It has such an infamous legacy in the Nintendo community, although it's very unlikely to get localized ever officially, so I'm planning on just picking it up for the Game Boy with the fan translation installed. And Mother 1 and 2 is, in American terms, what we call it over here would be Earthbound Beginnings and Earthbound. And I've heard a lot of really good things about Earthbound, so I'm definitely looking forward to trying that. And Earthbound Beginnings sounds interesting, though I'm not as interested. But hey, if it's in a collection, I might as well take it. And that's pretty much everything. That's everything I wanted to say about the Game Boy. Overall, I really love this thing. It's so nice looking, it's so comfortable, The games on here are so fun. I've just been having an absolute blast with this system, and hopefully in the future I can do an update video on this talking about new stuff that I've gotten and more like games I've tried out and stuff like that. But thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed, the like button, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Comment down below if you have any favorite Game Boy games that I should try out, any that I didn't mention in this video, or just general thoughts on the Game Boy, anything like that. Just leave them down below. I love reading your stuff. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Peace.